So in the today's class, you can see here, what I'll be doing is I'll be designing one more beam column weld connection. See, this determine the size of weld for the beam column connection shown in the figure. Assume site welding. It is not a shop welded connection. It is a welding is to be done at the site only. The joint is subjected to a factored shear force of 280 kilonewton and factored bending moment of 35 kN, and the diagram is given in the problem. Figure will be there. So let us try to okay. Now this is the column is ISHB 300, beam is ISMB 450. And the moment that the joint has to resist, you can see the moment the joint has to resist is 35 kN meter. Ultimately, weld has to resist this moment, and a reaction, downward reaction of 280 kN. That much reaction is transferred to the joint from the beam. So again, it has to be resisted by the welds. You can see this. This is the. You can see this is the elevation. This is the side view. They have given you the pattern in which the weld has to be applied. So see this one, this is a whatever eye you can see here, eye section is nothing but a beam connected to the flange of this column. I think you can make out this one. Okay. So here in this case, the weld to be applied is given here. That is the dimension of the beam section is 150 by 450. So when you see this figure, when you look at this figure, how do you start the solution? How to go about it? So steps in the design of weld connection: refer steel table and note down the geometrical properties of given sections. So beam and column sections both are I beams only, I sections only. You note down their geometrical properties which are relevant for solving this exam. Step number 1 is determine the moment of inertia and section modulus of welds. Assume unit thickness of weld because we don't know the size right now. That is what we are supposed to design. The final outcome should be what is the size, whether it is 5 mm or 6 mm or 8 mm, like that we have to finalize it. Step number 1 is determination of moment of inertia and section modulus of weld lines. in the whatever pattern they are arranged, for that pattern we should be able to find out moment of inertia and section modulus. Calculate the resultant stress Fr. Now what is this Fr? Fr, I will write it here. Resultant stress is equal to, you can see the weld line is subjected to both bending moment and shear, 280 and 35 kN meter. So this formula already, from strength of metal it is taken. It is square root of direct stress plus bending okay. Now next step is actually the since both both direct and bending stresses are acting here, okay, we have to find the resultant of that. The resultant stress should not be more than the strength of the weld. That is the condition here. Determine the size of the weld using the condition Fr. That is the actual stress produced in the welds should be less than the strength of the weld. That is the condition we have to, that condition we have to use here. Strength of weld is given by the equation as per IS 800 is Fu by root 3 into gamma mw. I have introduced the throat thickness here because I am going to solve this problem here assuming unit thickness thickness as unit, so that the calculation becomes easy. That is why instead of writing only, see this, instead of writing only this, since per unit per Newton per mm or we can say since the thickness is taken as unity, we have introduced this one in this formula. This will be equated to, see this will be equated to resultant stress, and you are going to find out this value. That is how the solution is done. You can see here. So you look at the diagram here. The diagram gives you the clear picture about what are the two sections, beam and column sections. Second one is whether the section is subjected to only direct force or whether it is subjected to moment also. That is also clear here. You can see 280 and 35. And you can see this, the side view here, how the weld should be applied. So the height of the weld they have decided. Problem itself says the height for this particular, this one should be 350. Okay, on both sides of this web thickness, on either side it should be, you can see the elevation also, on either side it has to be applied. And top, above this top and bottom, below the bottom flange again 150 mm should be applied. Entire width should be applied, the weld should be applied. This is the pattern they have given. So without this pattern, we cannot find the, if the pattern is not shown, we cannot find the moment of inertia of welds. It has to be given. The data cannot be like, you cannot solve the problem without that data. So solution is refer the steel table. As I told you, refer the steel table. For column section ISHB 300, these are the geometrical properties which are of relevance for us. Okay. For example, see here. This is the column section details are here. So the depth of column section is 300. Width is 250. Okay. Flange width is 250. Flange thickness is 10.6 mm. All these are in millimeters. So web thickness is not relevant. You will come to know that whatever is relevant for this solving this problem, those geometrical properties are given here. So beam is connected to column and beam properties ISMB 450. You can see this whichever is relevant for our calculation. all those geometrical properties are written, all are in millimeter units. Okay. Column and beam section properties are defined using steel table. So moving on to the next here, you can see step number 1, how it is done here. Hello. My class is going on. Call me after 1 hour. Okay, you can see this one here. So what I'm doing in step number 1, carefully observe, determine moment of inertia and section modulus of welds. How it is done. So first of all, calculate area of welds. As I told you, you should imagine a figure of this type. All these horizontal and vertical weld lines are considered as equivalent rectangles. You can see here, I don't know whether this has been taught in 6th semester, but observe here how it is. See, these are all 150 unit thickness. Thickness is unity. Just see this one. Here, the pattern in which the weld is arranged, each weld is taken as an equivalent rectangular section of size. Let us say this, if you take this bottom here, 150 by 1 mm. T is 1 mm. That is why that formula you can, I told you know here, that is why T will come, because of the assumption that you are going to start with thickness as unity. Okay. So this whatever see weld is there, no, this weld is shown in the form of those rectangles. That is what I'm trying to tell you. So find the area 2 into 150. You forget this 1 here. Don't worry about 1 because everywhere it is 1 only. 2 into 150. There are 150 here, 150 bottom size. Both are two rectangles of 150 by 1. So 250, 2 into 150 into 1 plus 2 into 350 into 1. So these two rectangles are of same dimension. Horizontal rectangles are of same dimension. Finally, it is 1000 mm square. It is actually mm we can write because unity is considered. Whether you write mm square or mm, here it doesn't make any difference. So how to find Iz? Moment of inertia about z-axis. Earlier we used x-axis in strength of material. Same axis is redesignated here as z-axis in steel structures. All those Iz, whatever you see in steel tables, those are nothing but Ix only, because the axis is called as Z. Okay. Any line which goes along the axis of the member, that is Z-axis in the steel, that is X-axis in steel structures. For example, you can see here, if I say like this, in steel structures, that changes are there. You can note it. See, this is, you can say this is the I beam. Okay. So here, for the sake of convenience, what they have done here is, this axis is as usual y-axis. This line is x-axis. The axis which is parallel to the axis means the line which is parallel to the axis of the member is x-axis. That is why this change you have to understand in case of steel structures. Now this is a Z. Whatever we used to call X, no, here it is Z. That is why steel table, everywhere you will find Iz only. Ix will not be there. So now Iz you can see here how you are going to find out the moment of inertia of these four rectangles about Z axis, which is here. This is the Z axis, which is exactly 450. This height is Is. How much is this height? You can see this. This is 450, top to top. So that center line and all, that concept is not used because it is 0.5 it becomes. If I go to center line, it becomes 0.5, which is of no use for us. That much accuracy is not required here. So here what we do here is, you can say. I think if you know it, I'll proceed further. If you tell me I know this calculation, I'll go to the next step. I don't know how to start this subject. How much you know, I don't know. How much you don't know, I don't know. So this is 450. Okay. If you say that I know how to find IZ, I can proceed to the next step. If you say I don't know, you explain, I'll do that. So this is a 450 by 2 is from the top here, from this line, it is 225, half of 450. Half of total height is this. So how do you find the moment of inertia of these four rectangles? For these two rectangles, you see here, this one and bottom one. For these two rectangles, what we do is we simply find out AH square part. We do not find moment of inertia IG, which is moment of inertia about its own centroidal axis. So about this line, we call it as IG, which is BD cube by 12, 150 into 1 cube by 12. So that is ignored. So what we do is in parallel axis theorem, as you know here, you please tell me if you know this one. I'll just go to for next steps. Otherwise, you should not feel that I'm wasting time. If you don't know, or if you know, you tell me. Otherwise, I have to start from the basics here. Usually this formula is used, Ig plus AH square. So this is the ZZ line for rectangle, top rectangle here. I'm supposed to use parallel axis theorem, which is Ig plus AH square. But what we are doing is Ig is nothing but 115 to 1 cube by 12. So this part is not considered. Only this is considered for these two rectangles. Both top and bottom horizontal rectangles, Ig part is not considered. It will be very small value. It is insignificant. So AH square is taken. See this 2 times, because two rectangles are there, top and bottom. AH square. A is what? Area of one rectangle. 2 is outside because of two rectangles. H is distance between centroid of this rectangle and the neutral axis. Centroid, but we are not going to consider that 0.5 difference and all. Directly it is actually, if you look at it, it is 225 minus 0.5 it is. But that those things are not taken here. So AH square is A into H square. This is for entire is for top two horizontal rectangles. Then remaining is these two vertical, this one and this one, two rectangles. Directly it is for these two rectangles, the centroid is same. Centroid of the entire entire section. Centroid of all the rectangles and centroid of these two individual rectangles is coinciding. So no question of parallel axis theorem, simply B d cube by 12. So 2 because two rectangles, B d cube, D means 350 cube by 12. So like this, the moment of inertia is calculated. Okay. Any questions here?
No, sir.
Actually, see, regarding this subject, I am finding some problem here. I don't know whether you people know all this. I don't know actually. So I'm just going like that. This problem, I think it was not there in your syllabus also for 6M. So here, let us move to the next here. This is your first step. These values I'll give it because I need to calculate IZ. IZ is this one, and section modulus is I by Y. Y is 225. So once I is calculated, you can find the section modulus. See here, what I'm trying to say. I is calculated here. Next page, the answer is there. Then section modulus Z is calculated because Z is equal to I by Y. Y is distance between neutral axis and the extreme fiber. So it is 225. So those values are there in the next page. I'll just extract these two pages side by side so that I think you followed this moment of inertia calculation here. If there is any doubt, you ask here. So I'll go to the next page. I'm getting disconnected every now and then here. So here, calculate the resultant stress FR. How to find it? So as you know that direct stress is the direct force divided by the area. So force on the welds divided by area of the welds. So direct stress you can get it. Then you will get bending stress is equal to M by Z. Theory of simple bending formula. M is equal to Fz. So moment of resistance is equal to F into Z. So moment of resistance is equated with bending moment. Thereby I can find the bending stress. So moment is given in the problem as 35 kilonewton meter. So multiply by 10 raised to 6 for that. Z. You can see this Z in the step 1, that continuation. Iz was after substituting in that whatever formula I told you here. You can see it is here. This part. The value is working out to be here 22.32 into 10 raised to 6. Iz is obtained. Then Z has to be calculated in this way. So this divided by Y, which is 450 by 2. Okay, Y is D by 2. In strength of materials, it is D by 2. So like that, I have used here. Then 99.2 into 10 raised to 3 mm raised to 3 is here. Actually, it is mm raised to 2 because unity is used. So don't worry about whether it is mm raised to 2 or mm only, because we have assumed a unit thickness. Okay, in this way, what I did was direct stress is equal to direct load, which is 280 kilonewton into 10 raised to 3 Newton, that is divided by the cross-sectional area 1000, where thickness was considered as unity. 280 I got it. FD is 280. Bending stress is M by Z. M is given as 35 kilonewton meter multiplied 10 raised to 6. It will be Newton mm divided by Z. As I told you, Z was calculated here. 99.2 into 10 raised to 3. That is substituted here. So I got these two values, FD and FB. So as I told you in the step here, you can see in these steps, resultant stress is Fr is equal to square root of direct stress square. It is vectorial sum, we call it as FD square plus FB square. Direct stress raised to 2, bending stress raised to 2. That is resultant stress that is acting on the weld. Now, once you calculate this one, the rest is very simple. Fr is equal to this. Get the value of Ta. From Ta, you can get the size of the weld, because as you know it, throat thickness. In some textbooks, they take it as TT. TT like this. Here I have taken as TE, throat thickness. Most of the books they use TT. Both are same. 0.7 times the size of the weld. Now you are getting TE. From this TE you can get, using this one, the value of S. Here you are getting TE. You can see here. So here, after finding a direct and bending stress, vectorially add them. It is finally FR is 450. So the size of the weld is decided based on this one. That is, resultant stress should be less than the strength that that weld can give. Weld has its own strength, but it has to resist 450.42, which is the result of two stresses produced in the weld. So which is 450.42. So your weld should be able to resist this much of stress. So the strength of weld should be more than this, or at least equal to this number. So Fu by gamma, this one into root 3, T is introduced here, because considering unit thickness, the problem is solved. Simply you equate a FR with this formula. Finally, your job is to equate these two parameters. That is this one and this one, you equate it. Since the welding is carried out at the site, this is 1.5. Otherwise, it would have been 1.25. If they say that the welding was done in the shop or in the factory premises, it will be 1.25. It is at site welding it is. So everything is there here now. You just have to find out the value of PE. Again, look at some conditions. Whatever you get, that value we cannot use. This type of welding is not at all possible. Minimum is 5 mm. 3 mm is also there, but here some other conditions it has to satisfy. So what happens is TE is 2.85. So using S is equal to 0.7, T is equal to 0.7 S, I am going to get S value, which is 2.85, this value, divided by 0.7. 4.07 I got it. Directly I will not say use 4.07. These are practically impractical values. Impractical values are there. Now again study the condition here. This condition you have to be careful, because these are all codified. It is already there in the code. Whenever something is discussed in the code, lot of experiments they must have done. Code book comes out after a series of experiments for many years. Then only it can enter code book, because it is like a legal document. It is, code book is a legal document. So here you can see this minimum is for such connections. Minimum should be 5 mm. Maximum is this 9.4 minus 1.5. That is a 1.5 mm lesser than the least thick plate element of the member. This 9.4 is, this is 1.5 is a standard number, 1.5 mm. This 9.4 is in the problem, whichever is the least thick, means thinnest element. The thinnest element thickness should be considered. In this problem, it is 9.4 minus a standard value of 1.5, 7.9. The meaning is it should be between, minimum is 5 mm, maximum should be 8 mm. If you look at the 7.9, we can say it is 8 mm. In between 5 to 8, possibilities are there 5, 6 and 8. Practically. So I will go with 5 mm. If somebody writes as 8 mm, the answer will not be wrong. Maybe it is more expensive, that's all. So here, what I have written, adopt size of weld as 5 mm. Okay. In this way, you can solve the problems on this one. I need to check whether, see this this particular beam column joint subjected to torsion, is it there or not? I have not seen any question paper problem till now. I'll just I'll not do it right now. I'll just start with some other topic. I checked all the question papers. It is not there, but it is there in the textbooks as a standard problem only. Okay. The problem is there. This is a this type of a member is not subjected to torsionitis. It is subjected to direct and bending stress. So a member subjected to both, that is torsion also is a separate problem. It is there usually the shape of the weld will be channel type. That I'll show it. Again, I'll just further I'll go and check it, because as far as I know, that is not there in the syllabus. So here, this is your, you can say, so these 2 pages, I'll share it later on. I will just send in the group as in PDF format, I'll send it. Only 2 pages are enough to design this. Design the connection using welds. Okay. So anything is there, anything regarding the technicalities? Am I audible to all of you, and whether the screen is properly seen, or there are some issues with the screen that you are seeing, or anything is related to audible, whether I'm audible or not? Because another 40 hours I'll be teaching this one. It should not go on like this if there is any problem here. So tell me regarding the technicalities of this. I'll be solving the question paper problems also later on. That is different, but anything related to subject is different. Anything related to technicalities of this is different. You have to tell me whether are you able to see the screen properly, and whenever I just pan it, whenever
Yes,
I'm
sir.
panning, everything is clearly visible or on your screen or not, you can tell me, or you can tell you can interrupt and tell that there also, that you can little bit pan it this side, that side, like that also you can say there is no problem. You cannot sit idle here, because I am not appearing for this examination. You are going to appear for the exam. So you are not supposed to sit idle. If the screen is not proper, or I am just going out of this, panning is not done properly, that time you can interrupt and tell me that you are not able to see this particular notes, whichever I am explaining. Even though maximum care is taken this side, but even then, if there is any such issue, you should tell me immediately on the spot. So I think if I give one more problem here, you'll be able to solve it now.
Yes, sir.
If I create one more example of this type, I think you should be able to get it. Okay. And it is not, see, if you know this basics of strength of material is enough, because I'm calculating direct stress, bending stress, just vectorially adding them, and that resultant stress that acts on the welds, the weld should be sufficiently strong enough to resist that much of stress. So the formula is given in the code book as this. Since for unity it was calculated, you can do like this also. You can keep just a T here instead of 150 into a T. Wherever 1 is there, you can put T or TE. You can solve the problem. You will end up with the same answer. But just to reduce the calculation time and other confusion, it is done like this. If you want to understand the final formula, you have to use T only here, 150 into T, and calculate in terms of T only. IZ will be in terms of T. Everywhere it will be in terms of T. FD will be in terms of T. FB will be in terms of T. This side also it will come, T will come. Then in that way it becomes little bit extra time consuming it is. So we have resorted to a simple technique like this. Okay. So these are the steps here, we can say. All the steps are over. And you type your relation here.
So for every problem, we need to consider unit area, sir.
You please tell me again.
So for every problem, we need to consider unit area.
Yes. That's why I'm telling you, I'll create 2 problems. I
Yes,
will
sir.
create two problems. You just try to solve them. Then it will be more clear. You will come to know any confusions will be clear. See, remember that it is all about practicing. If you
Yes,
practice it, usually the person who scores more, he will have practiced more only. There is no other formula there. If I give you some extra problems, if you solve them, there is a guarantee that you are going to score and you will come out of whatever whatever residual. See, whatever doubts are there, those will be clear. There is no other shortcut other than solving additional problems. Whatever I'm teaching here, it will be uploaded. It will be stored. Again, I'll upload this on YouTube also. But ultimately, how much you practice is important here. Because the problem with online is we people watch more and we people do less. In the classroom atmosphere, the person has to write the notes or he has to submit this that day to day basis. How many of you are using stopped using pen? I don't know. In the last 15 days, unless assignment is given, a pen will not come out. So what happens here is, I'll give you some 2 3 examples. You try to solve those problems. After that, if you still have some doubts, you can screen share and show me where you are finding difficulty. I'll allow you to share the screen, whatever problem you have solved, to get the PDF, because this is all the new technology it is. I cannot come to your house. You cannot come to my house. That is why you just solve the problem wherever you are getting stuck. Immediately you screen share it. Sir, this is where I could not go further beyond this point. Then there only it will be explained. That can also be done. So you need to solve those problems. Take the PDF. If it is finally, if the answer is correct also, still if you want to show it, I will allow you to screen share, you show it. If you are getting stuck, that also I will do it. It is all left to you people, because of this corona, you know it. In my neighboring house, 4 fellows are already having a fever. Today that checking will be done. In all the nearby houses, it is going on. Actually, they should stop this classes for 1 week. They are sitting inside the house. University fellows, they are sitting inside. So here you can see this. This one, you take the photograph or screenshot of this, because this will not be given. Only that notes will be given. If you think it is required, otherwise no need. No need to go for any screenshot or anything, because it gives a very short way. The what is to be done, I have given in a very short way. That's all. Okay. So I will conclude here. One more thing is IS 810801 also you download it, because cold formed structures, I'm going to solve the problem directly. I will not go into the theoretical aspects first. I'll solve one problem. For example, shear center. One more thing is before we conclude, you just try to refer some strength of material or check YouTube. YouTube search for this particular topic here, so that it will be easy for you people to understand. For example, here, let us say this is the I section. If I ask you to show me the nature of shear stress distribution, are you able to show it? This is one. This side I should show how the shear stress varies across the cross section. That has to be shown. For example, if you tell me how the bending moment distribution takes place if it is a simply supported beam, how do you draw this figure? One is compression zone, one more is tension zone. This is sigma C or FC. This is sigma T. Okay. This is the bending stress distribution. Bending stress is 0 at the neutral axis. It is maximum as we start moving away from neutral axis. As we reach the topmost fiber, you will find maximum bending compressive stress or maximum bending tensile stress below. My question is different. My question is, can you draw this shear stress distribution diagram like this? So here I want you to draw, let us say, I'll draw one line here. Are you in a position to draw the shear stress distribution which was taught to you in strength of materials? If you can do that, shear center is complicated topic actually. For a teacher, it is not easy to convince the students shear center problems. And it becomes more complicated if you don't know the basics. It becomes more complicated if you don't know the basics here. There is one more big problem. So I'll draw one more figure. It is a simple, I can say, rectangle. It is a simple rectangle here. This is the neutral axis or whatever you call it, say centroidal axis. Like this. Again, I will draw this bending stress distribution diagram across the depth. Across the depth, again, same diagram is there here, top maximum here, 0 at the center. Now, I want you to draw this shear stress diagram across the depth. And what is the formula? Can you tell me? Can you tell me the formula used for? So this one, as you can see, sigma T, sigma B, whatever, sigma C, the formula is M is equal to Fz or sigma Z. Sigma and F are same. Here, both are in some textbooks, as you know here. In some textbooks, so using, let's say, using this one, I can easily get, using this formula, I will get the value of sigma and I'll substitute it, whether it is sigma T or sigma C, because I'll be knowing the bending moment. Okay. So that is, I'll be using this formula, M by Z I will use, I'll find sigma, I'll calculate it depending upon wherever I want. If I want the stress here, what I should do? If I want the stress here, somewhere here, what I should do? How to find stress here? Here I told you how to find. Just now I have calculated that values only in the previous example. I know how to find in the topmost fiber the stress produced. If I want somewhere here, somewhere in this position, if I want the stress, or if I want stress somewhere in the tensile zone, Krishna Bijapur, are you sleeping or what? Now observe here. How do you find stress here and here? I want, let us, I'll call it as sigma C dash, some other number, sigma T dash. Can you tell me how to find these two values with using M is equal to sigma Z? Using M is equal to sigma Z, let us say I'll put it sigma C dash here. Again, the formula remains the same, M by Z, but how do you find Z here? If you want to find out sigma C dash. So these are the things, if you don't know, for me, it becomes more difficult to convince you people in this subject. If you don't know the basics only, because it is a UG, it is not a UG course. Okay. Now I want you to draw one figure like this. I'll show you. If you have forgotten it, if you know it, tell me. I'll allow you to screen share. You can draw the diagram. It is something like this. Shear stress distribution. Maximum, wherever the bending stress is 0, you can see this is the maximum possible value of shear stress. Okay, this is a diagram. You refer the textbook and show me how this diagram is drawn. In case of I section, because I section is very common in steel structures, nobody uses a rectangular shaped beam in steel structures. It is not possible. It is highly uneconomical. lot of things are there in connection with rectangular sections. We have to use I section only for all this. I'll take another 2 minutes and I'll stop it. So here, see this. If I tell you to draw this, I don't know, you have to check it in the book and get back to me here. These are the top and bottom lines. If I ask you to draw the shear force, shear this one here, I'll take this bottom of the flange here. Preferably I'll use some other color here, see, like this. This also here, junction between flange and I'll take like this. So how this diagram is, you can see. At the junction, it becomes still bigger. This side, it becomes still bigger and it becomes further bigger like this. So you can see the diagram of shear stress distribution in case of an I section. This is how it looks. This figure, no? This figure. Again, maximum is at the geometrical, that is neutral axis only. At the junction, suddenly it becomes bigger. I want you to calculate this value, the value here, the value here, this value, this one, and this one. If it is a symmetrical section, only you need to get 3 values. 1, 2, 3. Remaining 2 values are nothing but remaining 3 values are again these 3. So observe this one. Actually, here I have not done. Here also 1, 2, 3, 4. Here also 1, 2, 3. Again 4 is common. This one is common here. Remaining are 6. Out of 7 readings, you can say out of 7, you can say 3 are enough if it is symmetrical section. So at least today, what you should understand here is this is the shape of stress distribution diagram. You have to refer shear stresses in strength of material book, or Google it, or go to YouTube. In YouTube, you write in the search, you write it shear stress in beams. So thousands of YouTubers are there. They are giving you freely. They are not charging any fees. Freely you can learn that.